we were talking about how a lot of people come into the project and they think, oh, this is going to be the game. This is the one thing I need that's going to change my life. And it's not that it's going to change your life. Like, you're going to go home to your same life. Like, the sledgehammers, that's like a metaphor for the project in my mind. This is the sledgehammer that's going to like bust a rock open on your life and expose what's inside and give you the confidence to take that and polish it.
Hey, what's up? I'm Steve Eckert, United States Marine and instructor of The Project. Welcome to The Project Show. This is a show for men in search of meaningful transformations in their family, fitness, finances, and faith, so they could discover true fulfillment and reach their highest potential, and achieving this through mental, physical, and emotional sacrifices, hardship, and a little bit of suffering, so they could become even better husbands, fathers, entrepreneurs, leaders, and men. I have a guest here today, a project graduate from class 006, Brian Locke. Thanks for coming on and telling us your story. What's going on?
Thank you. Good to be here.
Just tell the viewers where you're from, what class you're from, and what you do for a living.
Okay, so my name is Brian Locke, and I was initially in class 04, as you know. Took a medical role there, which sucked, and came back and finished in class 6. I live outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm an industrial designer with a supplement company, and basically work in product development.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. So you were actually our first candidate from the project that didn't make it through for one reason or another and actually came back and graduated. Before we get to anything else, what was that in-between time like from coming, in between from leaving and then realizing, deciding you're going to come back? Just walk us through that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. So leaving was very difficult for me because when I first came into 4, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to finish. And so when I injured my knee and I rolled, I left and I was still fired up. I was pissed off. And I knew I was going to come back and finish. It was just a matter of when. I don't like unfinished business. And I will tell you that I don't think a day went by, I don't think a morning went by that I woke up and that wasn't the first thought on my mind.
That's awesome. In a way that motivated you?
In a way that motivated me.
Got you off your ass and got things going.
I'm going to go fucking finish this, and that's that.
And that was a crazy time in the world when you were going through the class. You went right through in March, right?
Correct.
Your first time.
March 2020.
That was the Corona class when shit went to hell.
Yeah.
So then you had to deal with that in between, as well as preparing to come back. That's a mind fuck right there. So how did that all go? Those couple months.
Well, for me, I left the project, and on my drive home, I got a phone call that I lost my job.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Shit, 2 for 2.
So, and at that point, like I said, I had this mixed emotion. I was fired up. I was pissed off. And I just said, well, fuck it. I didn't want the job anyways. Fuck it. I'm moving on. Better things are on the horizon, Now, obviously, we didn't know what the last year and a half would look like. But after leaving the project, even in that 42 hours, I left with enough force and clarity and confidence in myself and my direction to take on whatever was ahead.
So you were at 40, you were more than halfway.
Yeah.
Shit, after going through that and seeing what it's all about, I don't know if I would have fucking come back. I'd have been like, fuck you guys, I'm out. Once I left.
When I came back for 6 and we're in the mix of it, there were multiple guys that turned to me and said, man, I don't know how you came back.
Knowing what you know now, how could you actually come back and do this again?
Yeah, but I will say this.
That's awesome.
So I felt good. I was fired up. I knew I was going to come back and finish. What changed for me was stepping into it. That second time, I was way more nervous because I knew what I was in for.
You knew what you were getting into. Yeah. That's even sometimes knowing is worse than not knowing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's just rewind just back to when you first signed up for the project. What was the reason why? What was it that you were going through in life, or what were you looking to achieve out of even joining the project in the first place before you ever even joined that first class?
Yeah, so I first saw a video on Instagram, and it was after class 2, I believe, and I was captivated, and I was like, man, that looks like something I want to do. And there is that inherent part of me that loves the challenge and suffering and being pushed. But I was also going through a time in my life where I had just, and these are some realizations I had recently, I'd gone through a divorce. My life was really turbulent. I had gone through a series of bad decisions, not being that good to myself. Yeah, I was staying fit, but my habits, my lifestyle overall were not on point. And I realized that I was coming out of this cycle of a subconscious deconstruction of self. And when I discovered the project, I had just really that year entered into a process of conscious deconstruction, removing things from my life I didn't need, breaking down my habits, changing what I needed to change in my life. And I saw the project as a catalyst.
That's awesome.
To help me in that process and start to head in the direction of reconstructing the person that I want to become.
Mm-hmm. So before that first class, before you came in, when you knew really nothing, that was class 4, there wasn't too much footage out there yet, a couple little clips here and there. What were some of the fears and doubts and things that were going through your mind before just getting prepared for that first class, kind of going into the unknown? What was going through your head as you prepared?
Yeah, initially I questioned if it was something I could do. And this was before I had really reached out and engaged, before I spoke with Aaron on the phone. I questioned, is this really something I could do physically? Mm-hmm. And that was just that shitty self-doubt that comes up.
And so let's jump into the actual course itself. So you got plenty of experience of between the two classes.
Yeah.
What was your least favorite thing? The thing that you just think back on, you're like, I wouldn't do that again if you fucking paid me. What was your least favorite portion, evolution, task? What was it that you just fucking hated?
Okay.
I know it's a hard question because it's all so much fun. We have a blast. We have cold beers and foot rubs and massages and all that stuff. So it's hard to find something you don't like because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it was the Coronas. I'm not a fan of Corona.
Yeah, during the Corona time too.
Yeah, the beer. Corona, the beer. Yeah, my least favorite. That burial. The first time, that was really challenging.
So you actually got to that point. You did that twice then.
Yeah.
So you made it past the burial.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That first time around was extremely challenging. And I didn't think I was going to struggle with that as hard as I did. Once that weight on your body and that claustrophobic fear starts kicking in and the hyperventilation.
Those words are getting me excited. I'm tingling. I can't fucking wait to get it going again. Yes. It's funny, crazy. It's the burial. Some people, that'll be their least favorite, and then like 50-50. And another half, like, that was my favorite moment. Yeah. It's crazy. That's how everyone is there for different reasons, looking at different breakthroughs at different points. Some people love that because it was huge breakthroughs in their life and mental clarity and a moment of stillness, a chance to almost take a nap, almost a permanent nap, but a nap. So that's the irony of it, right? Like there was this sort of peaceful moment at first, and then when that anxiety and that starts kicking in, but the experience, the feeling after is so incredible that it's just that moment, that 5 minutes or whatever it is, where it starts getting really uncomfortable. I don't think there was any one. I mean, it took me a minute to come up with that question, honestly, or that answer rather, because everything is like that. It sucks when you're in it. You talked about this with the pit, where people leave and they're like, I kind of miss the pit. Someone sent me a picture. I forget who it was. Someone was driving by. They just sent me a random picture of the pit the other day, just because they happened to be by. They stopped by just to go look at it and have some reflection. They went to the pit and sent me a picture. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So when you're going through, let's talk about class 006. When you're going through, it's knowing what you're getting into. That's a mind fuck. Knowing what's coming up on some of those portions, and you didn't know some unknown after the 42 hours. Obviously, what was it that kept you going? That allowed you not to quit? What was it when those times were getting tougher, and you pretty much killed it the second time? I remember you went through pretty well. But what was it that got you through those moments of weakness?
A couple things. I already knew what it felt like to quit. I mean, even though I rolled, like I already knew what it felt like to have to walk away. And I knew how shitty that was. Okay, so I had already made that commitment to myself that, you know, if I had to duct tape a 2x4 to my leg to get through it, like I was getting through it. So I had that fuel behind me. And the other thing outside of myself that kept me going was my commitment to my fiance. I just kept seeing her and being like, if you don't fucking get through this, then you don't deserve that.
Go home and tell her.
That was honestly the dialogue.
Go home and tell her a second time.
Yeah,
I didn't make this.
That was the dialogue in my head.
And I remember you just twisted your foot or jammed your foot in class 6 towards the end, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, was that injury, or not, whatever it was, a strain? I'm not going to call it an injury because nothing's an injury.
Yeah.
Unless you're dead. That strain, was that worse than the one that you had class 4 that you actually left on? I'm thinking it is. If you're getting like the drift of like where I'm coming from, like.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think they were pretty comparable. The immediate effects of that. So it was this knee and this calf, and I tore a muscle in it. You know, I couldn't bend my knee that first time, and you know, like you go into the project and you say like the project will expose your weakness, right?
What if that knee happened the exact same way the second time around?
With 3 hours left?
Any amount of hours,
yeah.
what would have happened? Knowing what you already know.
I would have duct taped a 2x4 to my leg.
So if you think about it, and it's
the second time around, you know you're not going to get another shot at this.
So obviously you needed that first one to give you that power for the second one, but looking back, if you had to, you probably could have even done that first one. Like now you learn that, like that's a powerful lesson that you've learned, like what you're capable of, like what your true potential is.
Yeah.
You thought you were here and you're like, holy fuck, I'm not here. I'm so much more than that. Like I'll do that with twice as work. These days you get twice as, both of those injuries at the same time, I guarantee you'd make it through to the end.
Yeah.
Is that a correct statement?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I would have, you know, if you told me, hey, Locke, you've got to go crawl in the pit for the next 24 hours because you can't walk, I would have been like, okay.
That's what it's
just
all
have
about
somebody
right
bring
there.
me some water.
That's what it's all about, finding out what your true potential is, what you're really fucking capable of, how you've been holding yourself back in life, and this is a perfect example, a living example, and that's fucking awesome. So now what was some of the most favorite moments you had, or funny stories you have, or something crazy that happened, or what did you enjoy the most about the actual process itself?
What did I enjoy about the process? I aside from the actual activities and the evolutions, and I guess I could give multiple answers to that. There's the deep work that we do in the project.
Which most people don't realize that we do.
Extremely valuable, and that it might not be enjoyable depending on your experience
and
in
deep
life.
work, you're not talking about the hard physical training, not that deep work. You're talking about the mental, emotional side, which a lot of people don't realize that's really what it comes down to. That's what the project is really about.
Yeah.
It's we give you that beat down, that breakdown, so you can have those deep work breakthroughs.
Yes. You know, and just kind of a side note here, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, I was actually talking to Farhat from 09, and you know, we were talking about how a lot of people come into the project and they think, oh, this is going to be the game. This is the one thing I need that's going to change my life. You know, and it's not that it's going to change your life. Like you're going to go home to your same life. Like the sledgehammers. That's like a metaphor for the project in my mind. This is the sledgehammer that's going to like bust a rock open on your life and expose what's inside and give you the confidence to take that and polish it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that's how I've come to see this process. And so back to your question, Steve, of what my favorite portion is. Definitely the deep work. That element I find to be very valuable. I love the surf torture. That's great. And I really did come to develop some sick relationship with the pit, believe it or not, where it becomes very real. And things just start to melt away,
Start realizing how fucking good life really is, what you really can do, what you really can
do, how if I can do this, then how bad is anything else, Something gets thrown at you in a normal day and you're like, fuck it. Is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah, good stuff. So what were some of the immediate impacts you had, either, right when you showed back up home? What was different right away? What were some of the takeaways right there that you were able to implement and notice a difference in yourself and your life right when you got back home?
I immediately took control of some issues with my business that needed to happen, some uncomfortable conversations.
Stuff you've been avoiding?
Yeah, some things that had been building that I had backburnered. It was like, okay, attack that. Give that
huge right
feedback.
there. Men nowadays are fucking soft and little bitches, and they'll avoid confrontation because it's uncomfortable and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't want to hurt someone's feelings, and it's fucking needed. Giving and receiving feedback, it's needed on a regular basis. So that right there is a huge thing.
Yeah.
What were some of the longer term things now that it's been a while since you actually graduated? What are some things that kind of kicked in later on, or just different way you approach life in general now?
I think the communication has been a good one for me.
Except when you don't respond to my fucking text messages because you blocked my number, but that's besides the point.
Well, you deserved it.
Yeah.
So
you changed your number and you failed to tell me. You told everyone else, but it's not me.
Sorry, bro. Definitely the communication. That's something that I've been actively working on. And I think just the longer term effects is just having a new point of reference. Mm-hmm. Having a new point of reference for a way to approach life. And there's just so many valuable lessons that we go through in the project, whether that's the actual physical evolutions or whether it's the class time. The class time is extremely valuable. And, every one of you instructors bring a tremendous amount of value and a different perspective that really just, it gives so much to people and gives us so much to work with.
So you almost had like a new hard drive installed into you pretty much that you can now continue upgrading, and then you go through, you clean the hard, how to clean the hard drive out, upgrade it, make it more powerful as time goes on. It seems like it's getting even more advanced and more powerful as time goes on since you graduated. Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah, correct.
That's awesome. What kind of relationships? What's it been like to have the relationships of the Brotherhood and being part of the Brotherhood that you have? Like I heard you talking about a graduate from 009. Did you know him before the project?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, he's a close friend of mine. He's been like my little brother, and he's someone that I invited in.
Nice. So you're just spreading it.
Yeah.
Helping other guys out. That's awesome.
And he had an incredible experience. And 2 weeks ago, I had dinner with one of the graduates from 09. Never met, didn't know him. Found out we lived about 20 miles apart. Hit him up, said, hey, let's grab some dinner. And we immediately sit down and, for two men to be able to sit down.
I thought my ears were ringing. You two must have been talking so much fucking shit about me. I thought there was something going on that day.
That was about 2 weeks ago. It was a Monday night.
Exactly.
That's probably when you were feeling that. Yeah. For two men that have never met, to go have dinner, sit down and talk, and within 15, 20 minutes, we're going deep on real, vulnerable life shit. The kind of conversations that you have and are capable of having because we've developed that mutual respect and understanding of the project, what it's really about, and the vulnerability that it takes to go through that and to be on the other side and to have that connection.
And that's like a deeper connection, a deeper bond, like someone you would have that you knew for 20 years or your entire life, or a childhood friend, and you're just meeting it within minutes. It's like, bam, like that. Yeah. That right there is like what it's all about, what we started the project for, and how you get the value, 10 times the value long after you graduate, long after those 4 days, like right there, having that type of support system, the type of camaraderie, like not even like we even had in the Marine Corps. It's a whole different level. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So let's finish off with, what are a couple of tips you would have for these gentlemen, you're coming to help out now to see from the other side of the lines. What are a couple tips you have for these gentlemen that are going through the course tomorrow about what they need to do to make it through, or even just men in general to just make it through the everyday project of life? What would some of those tips you have for them?
I would say first and foremost, don't be a little bitch and quit. Know that you're always capable of more. You always have more in the tank. That's a big one, and the project shows you that outright. You're doing things that you didn't think you were capable of doing.
You get more done in 24 hours than you normally would get done in a week or two.
Yeah, and it takes a while to unpack that. You have to get physically prepared, but you have to get mentally prepared.
Awesome.
I think that's the biggest one, is get your head straight.
Well, thanks for joining us on the show. This is a true representation of a meaningful transformation that men can have in their life, and developing the relationships, becoming part of the brotherhood. Awesome stuff here. Brian, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
We'll see you throughout the week.
Appreciate
you are
it.
fucking
Glad
awesome.
to be here.
Please just like and subscribe to this channel, this show. If you got any bit of information, any golden nuggets out of this, put a comment down below. Let's talk about it. Let's also hop on the phone and have an interview to see if you're a good fit to join the MDK Brotherhood. I will see you next time. You are fucking awesome. No excuses.